Man, it feels good to be country again. Working till the day is done. Crack open a cold one and then redneck be like.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Well, guys, we took the bait. We took the bait, or at least I took the bait. I was really believing in this Thomas Rhett Country Again Side A era. I was loving the bouzouki on Growing Up, the harmonica on You Heard, the more thoughtful writing style and acoustic production, and then we get Redneck Be Like.
All day in the sun, always having fun.
What's up, y'all? Obviously, I'm in a new place. Welcome to my little suite where I'm staying for 2 weeks down in Florida. Basically, I had to use like all these reward points that were going to expire from like years and years and years of accruing, and this was the only place available to cash them in. So now I'm in Orlando for 2 weeks. I brought my Seahawks sign that I painted. Went into a crazy painting mode last week and painted this and some other stuff. It's not really a vacation, but I'm trying to use this time to kind of get centered, get right in the head. I have my phone currently locked in this box. You can see I've got, almost a whole day left that it's in there. I'm trying to lock it up for a couple days at a time and just reset, figure out where do I want this channel to go, what exactly do I want my next few months and years to look like. And ultimately, I want to find a home for this Seahawks sign. I think the Brian Kelly album was on the mind when I was making it, but I don't know, I just randomly wanted to make some ocean cowboy inspired art. And speaking of the Brian Kelly album, when I was getting into town, someone said, "Welcome to the Sunshine State." And it made me realize Sunshine State of Mind is a little bit smarter of a title than I realized. But yeah, Thomas Rhett dropped this new song called Redneck Be Like. He is one of 5 writers on the track, which again includes his dad. And I also noticed his dad is on his upcoming tour. So man, Thomas Rhett found a way to like double the family money by including his dad on everything he does. And to me, it's a pretty transparent play for TikTok clout. I've already seen Overshore's video on this. Go check out his channel. He's my favorite Canadian animated country music YouTuber. But I definitely agree that this appears to be chasing Walker Hayes' Fancy Like.
Applebee's on a date night. Got that Bourbon Street steak.
People are flocking to Applebee's. In fact, the chain is doing sales not seen in years. And one reason, a country singer.
From the bassy, hip-hoppy beat to the title that ends in like to the pretty cringe dancing videos. And look, I know that Thomas Rhett wants to dance. We learned that way back on Make Me Wanna. And I feel like he's gotten a little bit better at it. And in the pantheon of country dudes dancing, we gotta have Luke Bryan, our king, at number 1. Not to say I love his twerking, but the amount of content it's given me, I'm very thankful. And then I'd say Walker Hayes. I don't like Fancy Like, but the guy's got some good moves for a dad. And then Thomas Rhett. And then, like, way underneath that, Cole Swindell and his awkward upper body dancing. And now that I'm mentioning dancing, it's actually amazing that we have been spared from a Dylan Scott TikTok song because he wants to drop some dirty grinding moves. Now, obviously, Redneck Be Like is just meant to be a fun song that gets people dancing, and there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. Brooks and Dunn wouldn't have had a career if Boot, Scoot, and Boogie hadn't done the same thing, but this song just sucks. It's that kind of glitchy, super fragmented, produced track where you just get these little bits of guitar, twang, and percussion fused into a track.
Mama's cooking paper plate and tater salad.
Along with the statement, all day in the sun, all day having fun. That's what Redneck Be Like. Which feels more like a slogan sign that you'd find in a South Florida Hobby Lobby, but whatever. To me, the biggest bummer of this track, though, is that it means we are moving on from Country Again Side A, and that I guess You Heard isn't going to be a single.
And I'm pretty sure you heard.
And I think Thomas Rhett is at his best when he is singing about his growth as a father and as a husband, and he really shines when he's singing about his family. And I think You Heard, where you're adding in his relationship to God into that cocktail and a lot of harmonica, it just works. It's so good, and justice for You Heard. I will continue to love that song, even if Country Again Side B might look a lot worse. And to be fair to Thomas, I understand why he might retreat back into the poppier, TikTokier, crowd-pleasing sound, even if we love the country sound, because when you look at the sales for Country Again Side A, it did a lot less compared to his normal performance. It started with 30,000 total units, and that's composed of sales and streaming, and that was down from 76,000 for his previous album, Centerpoint Road. And I know that as media fragments, sales are kind of down across the board, but they're not down by over 50%. And although a lot of us on this channel have really loved this era, it clearly hasn't made as big of a splash from just a sales standpoint that Thomas Rhett might want to make. But from a branding standpoint, it's definitely confusing to make the whole statement that you're country again and take all your flannel photos and then put out a dance track like this. It's not dissimilar to the Man of the Woods moment that I reference all the time when Justin Timberlake made it seem like he was going to make a way more country folk influenced album and then put out Filthy. In other news, Carly Pearce announced that she is going to be expanding her 29 era. That was just a 7-song EP, but she's going to be putting out a 15-song album called 29 Written in Stone on September 17th. It's got this gorgeous green cover. You guys know me, I am Team Green always. And she dropped the first of her new 8 songs, one called Dear Miss Loretta, which she had previously performed on the Opry, but now it is a duet with Patti Loveless, and good gracious, it is country.
I ain't a coal miner's daughter, but my grandma.
Not only does this song feature a ton of fiddle, she also dropped this little teaser video with Janae Fleener, who's the current queen of fiddle in country music, and it sounds like the rest of 29 is gonna keep bringing the country, although after Thomas Rhett, now I got trust issues. What if Carly Pearce decides to turn around and just make a bunch of songs like Call Me again? But anyway, I'm super excited. I've loved seeing Carly Pearce's low-key rise over the last few years. She's just been around. She's never been at Carrie or Miranda level of fame, but she is just quietly building a big old career for herself, and I freaking love it because that album sounds good and I want to stay in that sad, reflective moment of 29. I recently called it one of the best albums of the year so far in that video, and I'm excited to hear what else she's got on this. Speaking of artists in that best of the year so far video, Morgan Wade, whose album Reckless is just awesome, has announced that she's now signed to Ariston Nashville, which is an imprint of Sony, and I saw her new fancy publicity shot on her Instagram, and her song Wilder Days is going to be pushed once again to country radio. It's actually been kind of puttering around in like the 50s on some stations. And I gotta say a few things. Number one, Virginia Pride. Morgan Wade hails from the same state as me, Virginia. And number two, this is so unexpected and cool. I didn't know if she'd be interested in taking this jump, and I didn't know if labels would be interested in someone that kind of has a more alt-rock influenced sound. I didn't know if they would want to take that to mainstream radio, and I can't wait to see if it works. Wilder Days is an awesome song, and if it does hit, I can't wait for the world to get to know Take Me Away. Because in my selfish little heart, I just want Take Me Away to be a big hit because I feel like that song rules. I feel like that would have to be the other single. But as I have proved to myself 1,000 times on this channel, I'm horrible at choosing singles, so no one should take my advice. Although I do love that Tequila Little Time is finally top 20. I stan that song. I'll continue to stan that song. The other piece of news I wanted to mention is about Florida Georgia Line, because I feel like they are experiencing this big uptick in relevance all of a sudden due to some big collaborations. Their song with Chase Rice, Drinking Beer, Talking God, Amen, is now #1 at country radio. And meanwhile, their song with Nelly, Lil Bit, has peaked at pop radio at number 17, and it reached number 25 on like the overall all genre Hot 100, thanks to some really big streaming and digital sales. And I'm mentioning that because I feel like there has been this narrative with Florida Georgia Line and their last album and Long Live that kind of the shine is off of them and they're not really hitting the way that they used to. And I feel like you could say that about their last album. It doesn't even feel like they cared that much about their last album. But the guys are freaking savvy, and they do find ways through their collaborations with people like BB Rexa with Meant to Be, and now with this Nelly song, and with Chase Rice. And Chase Rice and them go way back. I mean, he was a co-writer of Cruise. The guys are definitely not out of the game yet, and I feel like that's a narrative I've been letting take root in my head. And so almost just to be transparent, I'm like, look, Florida Georgia Line, it seems like they had risen and that they were falling, but they have definitely kind of gone back on the upswing. Also, for what it's worth, one of the writers on Thomas Rhett's new song, Josh Miller, is also a writer of the FGL classic, Swerve. Which I basically am only mentioning because it has become the pop country equivalent of my Thicket clip.
Go running through the thicket.
And the only other thing I was really going to mention is just sort of the country music adjacent Olympic stories that we had, and there weren't that many. I was wondering if Brody Malone, the men's gymnast, was going to become a big narrative in the country music world because he used to be a rodeo rider before committing to gymnastics, but Unfortunately, he only got 4th place on the horizontal bar, and he didn't quite medal, but he's young, and he may have a future, and who knows, maybe there will be an interesting men's gymnastics and Cody Johnson connection through rodeo. Lydia Jacoby, the 17-year-old Alaskan who got the gold medal in the 100-meter breaststroke, it turns out she has this little kind of hobby of playing bluegrass music in a band called the Snow River String Band that's played at a few folk festivals around Alaska, which I just found super amusing. Trigger at Saving Country Music found this, and it's just crazy to think that someone who is disciplined enough to get a gold medal also has time to just, master a few instruments and also be in a band. Makes you wonder, what the heck am I doing with my life? And then Tamyra Mensah-Stock, who got the gold medal in women's freestyle wrestling and went viral for her very patriotic post-match interview. Turns out she's a Carrie Underwood fan, and when asked about songs that pump her up, she dropped Carrie Underwood and Ludacris's collaboration, The Champion, which if memory serves was recorded for some sort of football broadcast a few years ago.
Probably Carrie Underwood, Champion, with Ludacris in it. Maya Nelson showed me that song in 2019 World Championships, and I can't get it out of my head, because I am a champion. I was born for this. I was made to win. I love it.
And Carrie Underwood shared that, and Tamyra responded to her, and it was just kind of a nice champion moment. But that's the best I could do to scrounge some country music Olympic content in a little news roundup video like this. There's been a bunch of new music I've been listening to. Parker McCollum's Gold Chain Cowboy, which I gotta say, I like the cover. I know everyone hates this cover, but I like the cover. The album I thought was okay. My favorite songs on it were Rest of My Life, which I just think with the picture frame and the drugs on the counter, it just feels so lived in, and it's a solo write, and it stands out not just for the interesting words, but also his delivery and the harmonica. I'm a big harmonica guy in this video. I like that song in Dallas. On the Yola record, I really liked Break the Bow and Whatever You Want. If you guys heard that record, it's way more kind of like smooth, country-politan, string-filled, very much kind of like the Nashville sound, and I prefer the moments on it where it's more the blues rock side of Yola, like Diamond-Studded Shoes, but man, Break the Bow, that song just slaps. Jesse Daniel put out an album that's got his kind of Bakersfield sound fused with some kind of more Tejano vibes, and there's a lot of Spanish on the record, and there is a song in there called Gray about watching someone else struggle with addiction and wanting them to get out of the gray that is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then Chris Young's Famous Friends came out, and there's just freaking nothing to say about it. Everything I say about Chris Young is exactly the same at this point. I just feel like he's got an awesome voice and really boring, uninteresting music. And then for some reason, Billy Currington dropped this surprise album called Intuition that is bad. Like, it's really bad. And Gary Allan's Ruthless is something I forgot to mention in the last video. It's kind of got this like alt-rock vibe I wasn't expecting it to have. I don't remember much of it, but I really like the song Unfiltered and the way that you almost have a drop and then the chorus starts, and then there's a second drop. I think that's unusual and cool. But please don't sit around begging for deeper reviews of those albums. I really mean it when I say I'm going to be pushing the channel away from doing so many reviews. They don't do well, they take a long time to make, and I'm becoming a lot more interested in what artists are saying than just evaluating how they're saying it. And I want to do deeper dives on kind of individual artists. I'm currently researching some Brooks and Dunn, and I think that video will be fun. And so that's it for today. Let's see where this little Florida trip takes me. I've got some ideas of videos I want to make, and then I want to do some traveling. I want to see the Keys. I want to go out towards like the Panhandle and the Everglades. I don't know. The Seahawk sign needs to go somewhere though, and so let's find this a home. Anyway, love y'all. Bye.